Hello, my beloved friends. Dave Makes Noises here at Rip Daddy's house. We're trying some new stuff out here at the channel. That is to say, we are spotlighting individual stories from our subreddit in addition to threads. So please leave us a like and comment to let us know how we're doing and if this is your bag of chips or your packet of crisps. Today, we're going deep on a legend. No, a phenomenon. Nay, a cultural movement. No, an icon that will resonate throughout the annals of history, forever spreading cheer, joy, and nachos to all fortunate enough to heed his epic tale. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentledem, it is my distinguished honor to present to you the grim adventures of GregGator, Part 1. By popular demand, I have decided to record the full story of GregGator, the Fredburger lizard folk ranger, at least to the best of my recollection, as it has been several years since my group has played that campaign. Eventually, I'll compile all the stories into a single post, but for now, I'll put up my stories as I remember them. Originally, when I first decided to play a Fredburger character, the character's name would have been Frank Wiener, until I eventually chose to be a lizard folk ranger and landed on the new name, GregGator. I chose lizard folk when creating GregGator because of the clever crafting ability they have, which made me think of the trial episode where Fredburger kept asking the judge for his hammer thingy so he could make stuff with it, as well as the description of alien mind, which I thought would be a perfect way to have Greg act so weird. The Horizon Walker Ranger was the class choice for me because at the time it was in its Unearthed Arcana phase, and one of its features was the location of all extraplanar portals within 1 mile, which I thought would be a great way to replicate Fredburger's ability to just kind of show up places, having him pop in and out of planes thinking it was perfectly normal and not even realizing that it is in fact what he was doing. Sort of like how Professor Paradox from Ben 10 travels through time. He doesn't have a superpower that lets him time travel, he just walks from place to place and simply knows where all the shortcuts are, only with like quarter of the IQ. My DM didn't really use this, but instead opted to have the big bad evil guy basically serve that function, and looking back, that was a much more fun decision. Backstory. GregGator was out hunting in the swamp one day near his village when he suddenly stumbled on an adult black dragon in a new part of the swamp to him. Before the dragon had a chance to try to eat him, GregGator introduced himself without batting an eye.
Hi, my name is GregGator. I can spell my name real good. GregGator. Or GregGator, yes. Hey, do you like nachos and frozen yogurt?
As soon as the DM heard me say hi in my Fredburger voice, he was laughing the whole time. GregGator was introducing himself to the dragon, but the DM then objected, still laughing, saying, "Wait a minute, if this is a medieval fantasy world, they haven't invented that stuff yet." Me, come on, let me at least roll for it. DM, fine. If you get 100 on the percentile dice, you can have nachos and frozen yogurt, but they only exist in your village. Rolls 100. Me. I cast good nachos instead of good berry. DM through short bursts of laughter. Good nachos? All right, I'll allow it. Let's see what you're planning. From that moment on, in sheer amazement, not only did I get to keep the nachos and frozen yogurt, I also got to reflavor, pun intended, good berry into good nachos, and later cure wounds into stuffing handfuls of frozen yogurt I pulled out of thin air into people's mouths. Anyway, the dragon is dumbfounded by my introduction long enough for GregGator to walk up to it and stuff the whole good nachos spell in his open mouth, which the dragon seemed to enjoy. GregGator,
we have lots of nachos and frozen yogurt in my village. You can have some if you want.
So I lead the dragon back to my village, share nachos and frozen yogurt with him. Right after we got back, GregGator said,
"Here's my village. I'll be right back. I have to go poo-poo."
And left to find a bathroom, unknowingly slipped in and out of the astral plane, saving him from sharing the fate of the rest of his village. By the time GregGator returned from his bathroom trip, only a few minutes, the town was in ruins. Everyone had been eaten, and the dragon was gone. And one really, really bad insight roll later, I began my quest to find out where everybody went. The early campaign, GregGator's quest to find his missing village has brought him seemingly at random to an island where a great tournament festival was about to be held. This was where our campaign was starting, with each of the party members ending up on the island for their own reasons. I had been staying on the normally uninhabited island for several days when one morning, GregGator awakens to the sound of construction. Festival vendors had arrived and begun setting up shop for the upcoming festivities. GregGator approaches the closest person and says,
Hi, my name is GregGator. I can spell my name real good. GregGator, or GregGator, yes.
Worker, that's great, buddy. What do you want?
Oh, I was just wondering what you guys are doing.
We're building vendor stands.
Why?
What do you mean, why? You've been living under a rock?
Yes.
Which he literally was at the time. The worker facepalms. The grand tournament festival starts in a few days. Lots of people are gonna be here.
Can I make a stand thingy too?
What? You know what? Sure, knock yourself out. I got work to do. Quit bugging me.
Okay.
And so GregGator spends the day gathering driftwood and building a makeshift vendor stall at the far end of the row of vendors he woke up near. Proud of his work, he curled up in his stand to sleep the night. For the next few days, GregGator hunted local wildlife to sell at his stall until finally, the first day of the tournament arrived. GregGator went out and enjoyed himself, spent several hours attempting to find a nachos and/or frozen yogurt stand with no success, but still had plenty of other tasty festival treats. The party starts running into each other at the tournament, as they each do their own things. Many GregGator introductions and facepalms were had, and a few of us ended up joining some of the day's events: an archery contest, wrestling contest, and a magic contest. I entered both the archery and wrestling tournament to sort of hedge my bets, since the prize for each contest was a ticket to a plot important dinner party that night. The contests weren't the main focus, so they were decided through skill checks, and dice gods be praised, I won both contests, which was very unexpected by all, in and out of character. Everyone in the group makes it to the party, acquiring invitations through various means. I'm still fuzzy on what happened at the party itself. The other party members were doing their own sort of political espionage style of things, while GregGator was inadvertently serving as the best distraction anyone could ask for. GregGator spent the entire party introducing himself to dozens of people, the whole intro in full, every single time, devouring finger food and getting kicked out twice for being a nuisance to the other guests. The first time they took away his invitation, but I had two of them, one from each game, so another guard let me back in with the second one. At some point, I think some poor guard got thrown out a window and got impaled on a fence. The next day comes, and it starts off normally. Tournaments being conducted, food and merriment being had when we all hear something. No checks required. DM. You see a horde of zombies rushing into the fairgrounds. The party members start asking to prepare attack actions for when they get into range. The DM, no, this isn't a combat situation. This is a tsunami of zombies washing over the area. Your characters all know you need to run with everything you've got if you want to survive. The chase takes us through the makeshift town as we see this sea of zombies demolishing everything in its path. The party makes it to the docked ships as they were departing. A few minutes later, before we had a chance to gather our thoughts on what the heck just happened, suddenly a huge demon with a massive axe hopped onto our ship. The party all take dodge actions, expecting the demon to start hacking away at us. To our surprise, the demon ignored all the passengers and the party and begins attacking the boat itself with its axe. The whole party realized pretty quickly this thing was going to sink our ship if we didn't stop it, and began attacking it. Another race began. Kill the demon before it breaks through the ship and sinks us. Some quick thinking from one of the other party members, we managed to disarm the devil, which slowed it down considerably, nearly giving us enough time to save the ship, but it still managed to punch its way through the bottom of the ship and began to swim away.
Hey, get back here!
And to the party and the DM's shock, GregGator jumps in after the demon, making use of that natural swim speed lizard folk get. The demon is barely hanging on to life. Just one more solid hit should kill it. I shoot an arrow at him at disadvantage because we were underwater. I miss him with my first attack, but I remember the lizard folk bonus action bite attack. DM, you guys were not supposed to be able to kill this thing. If you land this attack, you are probably gonna level up. multiple times. Tensions rising, I make my attack. GregGator swims at the demon and opens his mouth to go for the kill. But sadly, GregGator did not hit with the attack, and so the demon knocked Greg out and swam away. The DM had me roll percentile to see if I would survive being knocked out underwater. The dice gods had my back though, and instead of drowning, I floated back to the surface. Well, that's unfortunate because you weren't able to finish it off, but your combined efforts ended up saving the rest of the ships. The plan was for that demon to go ship to ship, sinking them all. But because you guys did so much freaking damage to it, it decided to retreat rather than die. GregGator got fished out of the water by some of the NPC survivors. The party was already trying to lose him at this point, which was pretty funny. The remaining ships brought the survivors to the mainland where the rest of our adventures would take place. At some point around here, the party officially partied up in a tavern where GregGator once more introduced himself and began stuffing mashed potatoes into his pockets at dinner, which he would proceed to eat at random for the next few sessions. We embarked to another town that would be our quest hub for this part of our adventure, and where we would soon meet the big bad evil guy. Sadly, most of the midsection of this story is lost to me, and my memories only pick up again towards the end of the time I spent playing GregGator. I will wrap up the tale of GregGator in part 2 of the grim adventures of GregGator, as well as make a few corrections to the story I told for one of the past videos. I hope you all are enjoying the story of what was originally just a joke character. Now, stories like this one are the reason I love this channel so much. I truly wish that I had more to offer the OP aside from my sincerest heartfelt thanks. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to embody the spirit of one of my all-time favorite unsung heroes of cartoon lore. Shouts out to my friend Alex, who showed me Fred Fredburger probably 15 or 16 years ago. Fred Fredburger may be a chaotic, chatty, diminutive pachyderm to some, but to me, he will always be the GOAT. I think that what we can gather from this incredible yarn spun before us today is that we all embody GregGator in our own perfectly imperfect little ways. I too like nachos, and I too like frozen yogurt, and I too can spell my name really fast. D-A-V-E-M-A-K-E-S noises. Yes, Dave makes noises. Oddly enough, if you enter the name I just spelled out incredibly quickly and correctly to you into your TikTok search bar, you will find my TikTok. And hopefully, if the pickup lines don't scare you off, the music and comedy won't either. If you want us to share your story on the channel, please post it to our official subreddit, r/MrRipper. And if you join us on our Sunday streams, you can request we read your story live. Thank you for watching this video to the very end. Please sub for Nat 20s. Bing that bong for advantage on your next attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. We love you here at Rip Daddy's house, and we'll see you next time.